Join us for the race to the finishing line later tonight on ITV.
You're watching HTV Wales. We now join the studios of ITN in London for the news at 10.
The nuclear station's told, get your house in order. The new television that's coming by satellite. In South Africa, the new censorship has begun. Mr. Baker's education bill gets through, nothing else does. And hit me again if it's for a good cause. Good evening. The nuclear plant at Sellafield in Cumbria has been given 12 months to make itself safer. Otherwise, it'll be closed down until it is safer. The Nuclear Installations Inspectorate demanded better management and staff training. They said there should be improvements to control systems, the way radioactive materials are contained and moved, ventilation and decontamination. The Chief Inspector said there'd been too many leaks at Sellafield and radiation doses to workers weren't as low as they should be. But they'd not discovered anything new that would add to the risk to the public. British Nuclear Fuels said they would act on all the recommendations. Lawrence McGuinty of ITN's Channel 4 News reports.
The nuclear inspectors subjected Sellafield to a scrutiny closer than any other factory has ever received. They even went into areas they themselves knew were so dangerous they could only stay for half an hour. Their general conclusion was that most of Sellafield is safe enough to continue operating. But they were worried that 1/3 of the equipment there needed replacing or drastically overhauling. For example, workers at Sellafield take samples of highly radioactive liquors in these cabinets called glove boxes. Any escapes of dangerous substances should be extracted from the cabinets by ventilation systems which suck contaminated air from them.
The sealing is effected by having a pressure difference between the inside of the glove box and the air out here. When there is a good large pressure difference, those gloves will be pulled into the box itself. As you can see, the pressure difference is not particularly large, and that means that there is a possibility of leakage of radioactivity.
Indeed, BNFL rely on ventilation systems throughout their main reprocessing building, called B205, to pull in and collect any radioactive leaks. There are 3 separate systems. One to collect fumes from the tanks where reprocessing takes place, one to collect any escapes in the cells that contain these tanks, and one to ventilate the building where people work. But the inspectorate says these crucial ventilation systems don't work well enough, putting workers and public at risk. The inspectors were also worried by flasks like these, used for transporting spent nuclear fuel around Sellafield, because they leak, exposing workers to unnecessarily high levels of radiation in this section of the plant. The spent fuel rods in the flasks should be transferred into a dissolver, but sometimes it can go wrong and they drop a rod, again exposing workers to unnecessary radiation. Today's report criticises workers for a casual attitude and management for not checking enough on safety. But will the report satisfy the critics?
5 years ago, the NII were called in and they had a very damning report of Sellafield and the management and the safety standards there. Now, 5 years later, having crawled extensively all over it for a year, what do we find? Another damning report.
Safety is an ongoing thing. And the relationship between BNFL and NII must be an ongoing professional one. We both have the same objective, to make Sellafield even safer.
BNFL have got to produce a safety case for the central part of the plant, that is to say B205. On that safety case, a great deal else depends, the precise programme of investment that will make the plant safe for the next 10 years. If they don't produce that safety case, then we shall stop reprocessing until they have done it.
The question now is how much will it cost BNFL to make Sellafield as safe as the inspectors want it to be? Lawrence McGuinty, News at 10 at Sellafield.
British television is about to enter a new era. Lord Thomson of Monifieth, the chairman of the IBA, called it the third age of broadcasting. A consortium called British Satellite Broadcasting has been awarded the franchise to set up 4 new television channels. Programmes will be beamed direct to the public via a satellite 22,000 miles above the equator. BSB was formed by Granada TV, Anglia TV, Virgin, Amstrad and the publishers Pearson. ITN will play a major role on one of their channels. About 25,000 jobs will be created over the next 5 years, mostly in manufacturing and selling the equipment people will need to receive the channels. They'll be on the air in 1990. BSB will offer its viewers 4 services. There'll be a channel called Now, which will provide live news, events and happenings 24 hours a day, and ITN will be its major contributor. There'll be a screen channel, and this will show feature films for a subscription of £2.50 a week. Programmes on Zigzag will be for children and the whole family watching during the day. And on Galaxy there'll be light entertainment with soap operas, quizzes and game shows.
This is the face of British satellite television as presented by the winning bidders. The IBA chairman gave his reasons for the decision.
One group has emerged which we believe contains the reality of the present with the vision of the future. The IBA has accordingly, this afternoon, offered the contract to British Satellite Broadcasting, BSB.
There were 5 main contenders. The winner, British Satellite Broadcasting, is a consortium backed by big names. Granada Television, one of the big 5 ITV companies.
And then I made personal contact with IRM shop floor.